Showmanship? That's what I thought it was called.
Oh, well.
All right.
Are we
What
doing show?
I don't know.
Is this the show?
Oh, we're doing show.
Is this the show? Hey!
Welcome to the show. It's 2 points, or it's nice to meet you.
So welcome to the Heyyy Show. We are a show that talks about random jiu-jitsu thoughts, and we also shit talk white belts at the end, which is, that's the signature piece, obviously. Just Ronnie's brutal. Just absolutely brutal.
He's a savage.
Set them up, and I knock them down.
All right, so the first topic of the day that we're going to talk about is a breakdown of pans. Now, Chad, last episode 0, clued you in that Brandon was not at pans.
Straight up doxed him.
But this is a new episode, so we don't know the truth.
Or
true believers.
But we found a way around that, so we're really excited about it. So, but let's go ahead and kick it off with, to all of our experts that was at PANS, Brandon included. He can fake his way through it if he wants. What stood out at PANS? And again, we try to make all of this from the perspective of white belts, and that was our biggest day as well with the white belts and being at the competition all day. So what stood out to you at PANS with all of the white belts?
Ooh, it's a big one.
Yeah, we had a good crop of white belts come in, and competition was really stiff. I mean, there was a bunch of good ones down there. I think the biggest thing that stood out, and I think it really rattled a bunch of them, was just how many no-shows or just people that couldn't make it because there's a shitty ton of flights that got canceled and people just not making it down there. And I know if you're sitting in that bullpen and you're getting ready and then you're like, your guy's not on there yet. Well, when are they going to DQ him? I don't know. They'll DQ him sometime. You're just sitting there just waiting to whether you're going to go or not. It kind of defeats the whole purpose of getting your bracket out ahead of time. And I think that rattled a few of them. I really do. I feel like we might have had a better performance.
I think that lets me kind of go into my next part. So there's 2 things that I would look at. One, like you said, I think that when people see IBJJF and they see the PANS and they see the Worlds, it's a very overwhelming, intimidating thing. You have these huge fences and you have these ring coordinators and you can't go here and it's very, you go to other small tournaments and it's like you can sit on the mats and you can kind of run around here and, there's no real agenda or time to anything. But with the structure of IBJJF, they try to make it professional. And that's intimidating, especially to a white belt. You're like, do I have my ID? Do I go in this bullpen? Do I go in that bullpen? What if I don't make weight? Like, there's a lot of factors that get into your head when you're new. On top of, no showing. It's like, okay, now I was supposed to go at 5. Now I'm going at 5:45. Yeah. This guy didn't show. Now you've gotten in your head and you thought too much. But the big thing that I think I noticed with our students, and this probably happens a lot, is you don't compete enough before you do a major tournament. To me, I try to compete once or twice a month, and that kind of helps. I'm nervous still when I compete, and I've been competing for 10 years. So if you don't go, no matter whether you win, no matter whether you lose, no matter what, IBJJF and Fuji and Naga, they all have the same type of competitors for the most part. Like somebody that does an IBJJF will do a Fuji. Somebody that does an IBJJF will do an Abu Dhabi. Like, you're going to run into the same people, and every once in a while you're going to get some crazy person that's really good. But for the most part, they're all the same people. It doesn't matter the tournament. But not competing, enough is going to make your nerves on fire. And then going to the setting that looks so much more professional than a setting you're used to, it gets in your head. So I think those 2 factors right there really struggle for white belts.
Yeah, I think so too. Just kind of piggybacking off what you said, just when you don't compete for a long time, when you get there, it feels like everything's riding on the results of this one match or this one tournament or whatever. But whenever you get out there a little bit more, those nerves kind of go away, and it just doesn't feel like your whole identity is riding on this one match or this one tournament.
I think we had that talk a while ago. Like once you had won the Master 1 Worlds, who cares if you don't win Indy or who cares if you don't win Chicago at that point? Where if it's like, okay, I've lost my last 4 tournaments, this one's got to be it.
Especially when you're first starting, it feels like you have something to prove, maybe just even to yourself. Like you want to prove that that this isn't a waste of your time or something, I guess. And yeah, just getting out there more, the more experience, a lot of that goes away, or at least a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
that's a thing with all combat sports. Like even MMA, like if you put so much pressure on that fight or
the
that
outcome.
match, and you you dump so much time into it that when you get out there, you're like, I've done so much work. I've done this and I've done this. I've had to eat healthy for so long to make weight. I've worked my ass off. My cardio's on point. I'm ready to go. And then you go, like, oh man, what if I fuck up?
yeah, then you're afraid to take those chances, and you get out there and you freeze, and you don't go for the risk. You don't execute your game plan. You kind of wait for what they're going to do because you think you're going to be able to counter them or capitalize on their mistakes, and it's just not how it goes a lot of times.
Yeah, especially when you're like, oh, I missed that first one. Like, if you're going to pull guard and like, oh, that guard pull sucked. I'm going to lose. Yeah, and then you're in
Or
your
you give
head
up the
there.
two.
You give up
can't
the two.
recover that 2 points. I mean, you know,
A
it's,
lot of matches are won that way, or lost, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so the next question is pretty similar to that one, but I wanted you guys to think of it more from a watching the matches perspective. What were some themes of the day? Like some things that, you know, it just really stood out to you. Not more of the psychology or like the gamesmanship, just like what you were seeing there on the mats. Maybe this could be positive, this could be negative, it doesn't really matter.
Even just from like some of the footage, just like even from the opponents, not even just my teammates, but just people not having another game plan. Like you need your main game plan, and you need something to fall back on if it's just not working. You know, something else to go for, because you have to find those moments where you can get those points, no matter what.
I keep laughing at that because you'll find out in episode 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just keep laughing every time that comes up.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point. I agree with that. Other things I seen were just the nervousness, man. I know we're kind of going back in the psychology thing, but man, I just seen so many people that were nervous. But then I also see some people out there that it's like, you know, when they went out there and they are just so calm and collected, even if they lose, but they're so calm and collected. It was the rarity to see the calmness of that. That's the biggest thing I noticed. I mean, there wasn't it because like. Well, it seemed like ankle locks was the theme of the day. Like, I mean, there were some ankle locks, but it wasn't like, hey, everyone's doing this. This is the new thing. This is the way Jiu-Jitsu is going. It's just when you're looking at the white belts, it's all mental. That's 100% of what's going on. It's all mental with the white belts. After that, you know, the higher up belts, you know, you might see some themes of like, you know, the guard puller. It's a guard puller's era, or man, there's way more takedown people now. But at white belt, it's all mental.
I guess, I mean, as far as a couple themes that I saw, really bad guard pulls. You know, and then I guess, you know, your white belt, your blue belt, those are mistakes that should happen. That, you know, I still make those mistakes at black belt. So, but I think that a big thing that a lot of people have to work on is guard pulling. How to pull guard. Because with how they implemented the rules, where you have to have a connection when you pull, right? I feel like I see people jumping guard, you know, when it's illegal. I see people not knowing how to pull guard, so they're giving up the 2 points. I see people, you know, just sitting down without a connection because they don't know the rules. So I think, you know, it's the same thing as wrestling, right? Like, you can hate on guard players, or you can say top's better, or whatever you want to say. But look, I started playing guard in the beginning because I didn't wrestle, I didn't do anything when I started Jiu-Jitsu, and that's where I was the most comfortable at. And it's important, I think, when you start Jiu-Jitsu, that you find an area that you're comfortable. You know, not saying that you should be, you know, of course you should try to be uncomfortable and you should put yourself in uncomfortable positions, but it's a very overwhelming thing the first 6 months when you start Jiu-Jitsu, and you have to find a comfortable place, or you're going to quit. It's just, that's all there is to it. I've watched thousands of people quit, and most of the time the answer is, I was completely clueless. Mm-hmm. So guard pulling is important. It's the same as wrestling. Having a good strategy on how you're going to pull guard is important. And I watched almost everybody there didn't have a game plan when they pulled guard. They just pulled and gave up positions effortlessly by pulling just because they wanted to get to their butt. Yeah. And the other thing I would say is, as the support system for teammates, is I noticed a lot of people competing without support in their cage, you know, or on the wall.
Yeah.
And it's really important that, especially at white belt, you know, everybody wants to watch black belts, purple belts, brown belts, blah, 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 blah. The most important thing is the white belts.
Yeah,
I mean, they're the
absolutely.
most nervous, scared people, and they get the least coverage and the least support. So I think that right there is maybe why we've done so well and had so much success.
Yeah.
Is we realize that is the foundation of your academy and your future.
We're not sucking up to all of you that we're trying to get to watch as white belts. I
didn't
promise.
even know anyone was watching.
Nah, there we go.
You hit record?
Oh shit. Okay. All right. So let's ask the most stock, easy question that every single show has asked about or talked about, and that's closeouts, and that's the last one. So that was a big thing of the day. If all of you don't know, they actually made a rule. I just blanked on the rule though. I believe that there's just
I think
no
it
more.
takes away your points
And your
or
prize.
and the prize if there's money.
Yeah.
For IBJJF.
Yes. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I can't believe it was ever a thing to begin with, to be honest. But
Yeah, it's weird. I can see the only thing I kind of understand not wanting to go against your teammate because you know it's not like a challenge. It's someone you've already gone with. But when we're talking like these major gyms where you know it's a guy who's training in gym A and against a guy that's training in gym B that's under the same umbrella, they may not even know each other.
That's true,
Just
too.
go for it.
And I mean, I can see it being like less relevant, I guess, at some tournaments. But like, if you're at the Worlds and it
Yeah.
comes down to the finals, like you want to see who's gonna win the World.
So I made this post the other day on Facebook, and it pretty much covered this topic. But here's the thing that, well, when I'm not banned from Facebook, I post on Facebook.
Pretty rarely.
Yeah.
So once every 30 days, I get a post in. But not that I would ever post anything controversial. But here's the thing, right?
Be a loud button.
You have to look at it from the simple point of view of where do you want jiu-jitsu to go?
Right.
Okay? Do you care about jiu-jitsu? You know, a guy made a really good point on my post. When I used to do Master Worlds, when it was only Master Worlds, and only 30 and up people went to the Master Worlds, it was a different vibe.
Yeah.
You know, like it was a different energy. Like we would go to the adult worlds and you would have your adult competitors, right? And that was a different vibe and a different group. And then when you would go to Master Worlds, that was a completely, you know, you had 30 and up people, and it was kind of neat to listen to, you know, you go from hanging out with kids who say the crazy stuff they say to hanging out with adults who have these cool stories that they've experienced in their life. And that trip was really cool. And that's gone now. Because now the Master Worlds has adults, kids, it has everything, and it's just overwhelming to even keep up with it.
It's the biggest tournament right now, right?
Correct. So,
Yeah.
to me, I think people should fight no matter what. Just why not? Who gives a shit? What's the point? Like, so you get tapped out in 30 seconds, so you fight your teammate, so you fight your friend. I don't understand what the big deal is. I think if you care about jiu-jitsu, right? The final, I mean, could you imagine watching the UFC? Okay, I rented the UFC, $70. Everybody in my house came over. I invited all my friends. We were watching the prelims. We were watching the main event. And then the guy comes on for the championship. So-and-so's fighting so-and-so. Oh, they're friends.
They shake hands.
Shake hands and they walk off and it's over. You'd be like, what the fuck did I just pay for? You know, and I understand in the UFC, like, clearly you're not going to sign a contract to fight your teammate. But we're trying to get jiu-jitsu to the next level.
Yeah.
And we're not going to ever get there by having closeouts.
And those should be the most exciting matches to watch.
Correct.
The
You went
finals.
6 matches, 7 matches. You know, you fought all the way to the finals, and you have 40,000 people ready to watch you go at it, and you just shake hands.
Yeah.
It can't happen.
And
It's
now that
not
we're-
good for the sport.
And now that we're in the age where it's not just you go to Worlds to watch it, you can watch it online now.
Right.
Because that wasn't a thing, you know, in the past. Now it is. Now there's people paying to watch that. You know, they're not paying IBJJF directly to, and maybe that's why
But they're
it's not
paying
that
Flow.
big. But they're paying Flow, and you know, so something's got to give. You got to have that entertainment factor, and you're right. You got to go. if we're talking like small time tournaments, where
Yeah,
you know,
I completely.
that's
Chicago
fine.
and Indy, fuck
Sure.
it, let's close it out and give that guy the
Worlds,
points so that he gets
Pans.
access to the Worlds. But the main stages,
The ones where
like
everyone's
like
watching.
that the last Pans that I went to and competed, our two teammates got to the finals and they fought it out, and it was probably one of the most exciting matches that happened the whole
every
tournament.
time,
Yeah,
I
so
mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't.
yeah, I can't believe it was ever a thing to begin with, to be honest. So
If you jerks ruin one more segment, I swear on my life. Like, this is the level of respect I have. We make scripts, people can read those scripts, and we ruin it. We ruin Michael's stuff.
Well, I don't read.
Okay. Fair enough. All right,
Excuse me,
so
sir.
let's move on to the next segment. It is All I Want Is One.
Hey,
That's
What's
my
the show?
point. Then we go.
Okay.
How many points you say? Hey.
I have to say this now. Like, have you been watching that show Winning Time on HBO?
I haven't
about
got to
basketball?
yet.
Okay. There's a part where the guy's like, he's talking to Pat Riley, and they're like the announcers, and he goes, "All right, Pat. So you come in for like 10 seconds, and then I fist you."
That got deep.
He goes,
Yeah.
"I fist you," and that means shut up. And he goes, "I'm gonna keep fisting you until you shut up." So I just wanted to fist all of you guys. All right, anyway, so All I Want Is One.
Hey.
There we go. Tip of the week or month or whatever, whenever we
supposed to say
decide to
hey.
do it.
Hey.
So this is a segment where our three veteran BJJ competitors and coaches give you, the viewer of this, tips on when you're starting your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu journey. Now, we don't want to limit it to just white belts. Obviously, this tips can be good for anyone, but just what's your tip?
I'm gonna steal Chad's because he already said it, and it's a good one. And it's, as you get started, pick one thing and work on it. And if it's gonna be guard pulling, do it. Just get out there and work on it really hard. And just don't be afraid that, like you do it and you get good at it, and then you decide later on, like, you know what, I don't want to be a guard player, I want to play top. That's fine. But pick one thing to get good at and then work on that really hard, and then that way you have that fallback, that one position, that one, like, either it's a submission, like it's I'm going to do arm bars, or it's going to be I'm going to play X guard, or it's going to be double leg takedowns, whatever it may be. Just get real good at that one so that you have that, all right, I'm about to die, I have no energy left, I'm going to get to this place because I know I can be comfortable there.
Isn't that I've always heard that's like a pedagogism. Like, get good at one thing, at white belt.
I don't know. I just know this fucker stole my
Yeah, you will.
tip of the day.
All right, let's put Brandon on the spot. Brandon, what's your one tip of the week?
100%, if you're just starting out, get a good game plan and just
Son of a bitch.
execute it immediately. As soon as
We
you
all have
guys
the
slap
same
hands
kick.
and the match starts, you got to go for it too. Don't hesitate. Don't get out there and try and feel them out and look for some big explosive takedown or move or something. Just have your game plan. As soon as you guys touch hands and the match starts, execute it. If it doesn't work, switch to your plan B. And I feel like you'll win a lot of tournaments when you're starting out like that.
Well,
You want to do the same
I got
thing?
2 tips.
Oh.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. One, it's definitely not the gentle art. So if you read that, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, unless
It's more
you're
gentle than getting kicked in the face.
I kind of would rather get kicked in the face. So, that's tip 1, which leads into tip 2, which is just don't start jiu-jitsu. But if you do happen to start jiu-jitsu and you're
Tip
a little
3.
bit crazy, and,
Wild card.
and
He
you
passed.
decide that you have mental issues like most of us, and you continue to stay down this road of getting beat up daily, you're going to lose a lot. 100% you're going to lose a lot. So, I had a student come to me Friday, and he was pretty discouraged, and that kind of hurts me a little bit because, we've been doing a lot of positional rolling in our classes, and he just wondered if we were going to get back to, technique. And jiu-jitsu's year-round. It's not a sport. I mean,
Yeah,
you
there's
can
no
make it a
season.
sport with a season, or maybe you do it half the year, whatever you want, but all of us are year-round. I mean, we take days off if we're sick, and that's about it. If we're sick or we're traveling. So it's not just like, I'm just not going to go to jiu-jitsu for the month. It's year-round. So you have to understand that you're going to lose a lot in the beginning. Okay, I try to tell all my students, you got to get tapped out 10,000 times, right? You can either do that in a short period of time, 6 months or a year or whatever it is, or you can protect your ego and you can do it over 10, 20 years, right?
Yeah.
But the person that's going to do it and get it out of the way the soonest is going to be better no matter what.
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu, just like anything in life, is a numbers game. And if you're protecting your ego and getting tapped out 2 or 3 times a day, or once a day, and then you're going home and you're like, yep, I'm good, and there's somebody else out on the mat getting tapped out 50 times a night, the dude getting tapped out 50 times a night is going to be better than you every time. Mm-hmm. So get tapped out as much as you can, and then analyze why you're getting tapped out and learn from it.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
That's why I steal his tips.
All right, I think we're on to our last segment, which is shit talking white belts. So we will.
My favorite part.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna hand it over to the guys, and we are ready to go with the video.
All right.
What do we call this one?
Shit talking white belt video.
Okay, so this is Shit Talking White Belt Videos. What we got here is a match between our own Tyler Gordon, where he does some very cool things. And
Basically, he's losing the match, and then he comes back and wins.
yeah, and it's very fun. So we're going to go ahead and hit play. Starting.
Are they recording right now?
Yeah, it's recording right now.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. We might be shit-talking white belts, but they matter.
Yeah, white belt lives matter too.
All right, we are going from the beginning. We're starting mid-match here.
Yeah, so I kind of gave up hope on Tyler at this point, and I figured he lost the match. Because this guy was doing so well at riding Tyler's legs, crab riding him, that he couldn't get the position he wanted.
Yeah, then he's going after that ankle lock that he loves.
Tyler's actually, for an ultra heavy, very, very good at ankle locks. Very.
He's pretty agile for a big guy
Yes. Good hip movement, good flexibility. But this guy did very well at not getting engaged at all with Tyler's leg locks. He stayed away. He rode the back the whole time.
Yeah, the number one ultra heavy move right there. That just hold him down.
So yeah, right here, I mean, Tyler can't figure out how to forward roll. He can't. So like, what should Tyler do right here? What would we say?
Well, right, since it doesn't look like he's got over under. So what I would be, it'd be hard. Now he's starting to get over under. So he needs to cut out.
No, he does good at not. Tyler's very good when he does turtle at not giving up hooks, not giving up the place. But the other problem too is you can't just sit here.
Right.
You're going to be hit for stalling. So, and luckily it doesn't go on too long, but the ref's going to start looking at him and saying, you're sitting here, you're not moving, you're not getting back to a better position.
That kid's a wrestler. Did that half Nelson into the getting in the side? That was slick. He's good.
Yeah. I mean, I think he would have won the division if it didn't play out the way that it played out.
No spoilers. What if someone hasn't seen this viral video yet?
Yeah. This gets 100,000 views is what Tyler told me today.
That's crazy.
So, and what's cool here is because Tyler went to turtle, going back to side control, nothing's lost. There's no point loss.
Okay. That's nice.
So even though, when you're getting your guard passed in jiu-jitsu and you turtle, the guy gets an advantage, but when you go back and get the side control, all right, so here's where it plays out. No one saw it, but he sunk in the baseball choke. He learned this move 2 weeks before.
That's pretty awesome.
2 weeks before. Puts the guy to sleep, and then, the ref has to get his 2 points as well
That's a big two.
to finalize this match.
And Tyler's like, you out, bro?
I think Tyler was actually thinking about throwing up the 2 for the ref, just, so that we could be fair here.
I mean, he got it. It was good.
The guy's still a little bit confused what happened.
Yeah.
He put him out pretty fast. That baseball bat choke does, though.
It can. It's one of those that it's like nothing, black.
And you have to keep turning. You
Yes.
can't stop. If you
Can't
stop the momentum, you want to make sure that you're constantly turning away from the person until they're dead.
Yeah. The other problem he had was as he turned, his arms were just extended over here, so he didn't have any leverage. Once he started coming up to his knees and being able to get here, that's when he started getting tighter.
We don't want to watch this.
Yeah, that's fine. Hold on. We don't need
Who
that.
is that guy?
We don't need that.
All right, what do we do now?
Is there any more you want to talk about on that video before we switch to the next one?
Oh, we're going to another video?
How
Yeah.
did he set up that baseball bat choke? Just in the transition when the guy was coming around from side control.
It's great to hit in side control because you can get your grips in there and people will let you have those grips. Just because, what are you going to do with them? You got here and here, it's nothing. And then once you start turning, then if they don't know it's coming and they start putting in their hooks.
You really want to try to do it both at the same time.
Yeah.
But if you're going to go with any, I think going with the top grip to control the posture so they can't just run away.
So when you're inside,
It's kind of like
when you're framing on their neck. With that
Well,
grip?
you know how I play the flower sweep series that I do, where I reach up and grab behind the neck. You
Yeah.
want that one, and then you just want to
Right.
slide this
All
one
right,
in.
this is shit talking white belts. This is Tyler Gordon's second match of finals match of pants. So we'll go ahead and hit play on that.
This is his third match. His first match, kind of boring. Second match is the match where he has to have the ref take his opponent back down, and now, so he's really good at getting the single X. He's really good at. I mean, not a lot of ultra heavies pull guard,
Yeah.
and not a lot of ultra heavies are going to play single X, double X off the bat.
The guy
especially
clearly was ready to engage on the feet too,
at
and
white
he just
belt,
sat.
and this is I mean it's
Ooh, that was
technically smooth. I mean,
Very.
what a
So-
sportsman.
So, I mean, these ultra heavies, especially at white belt, have no clue how to handle these situations. I mean, his opponent should have kept his hips back, should have not let him just pull guard right under his legs.
I think he just completely lost what he was doing after Tyler sat. I don't
Yeah.
think he was ready at all.
And I've watched this 20 times. And yeah, don't watch that video of Tyler Gordon beating up a small human. That's it's not me. If you're wondering, if you watch the
I
video,
mean, that guy just clearly had no plan B.
no. I mean, it's he's and that same thing in Indy. You like that?
No,
So that's the biggest things I think is everybody's hesitant, especially at white belt, and you should be hesitant. I mean, you're new, you don't know what's going on, you don't know your opponents. It's I remember when I was a white belt. You remember when you're a white belt and you compete and your first grips, you come off the mat and your hands don't
You're
work.
like shaking.
So, we all go through that and we all experience that. And I think at white belt, when you're starting, the biggest thing to do is to get something that you're really good at, that you like, that you're comfortable. I was talking with one of my students the other day, and that was something they said, I just don't know what to do. I have no clue where to start, what I'm good at. I
Having a
suck at everything.
confident game plan, I think, is one of the biggest things for winning in tournament when you're pretty new, or at least it was for me. That's what helped me a lot, was having a game plan that I knew I could go to, and then like a plan B if that didn't work, sort of.
I mean, I wouldn't say Tyler's game's super rounded. It's a pretty predictable game for the most part once you know him.
Right.
But he got really good at it. And right before Pans, he told me, he said, look, I'm going to work on wrestling. I'm going to work on stand-up. I'm going to do this. And I said, no, you're going to work
Not
on
yet.
pulling guard, and you're going to work on your ankle lock series.
Yeah.
Because what's the point in a week out or 2 weeks out
Right.
trying to add something you're not going to do into your game?
Yeah.
And it executed it perfect. I mean, his last match, before this match, another ankle lock. The guy tapped in 30
And
seconds.
this was the final.
This is the finals match, yeah.
That was like 20 seconds.
So I mean, it went from his first match that we thought maybe he wasn't going to get it,
Mhm.
his second match that he's losing the whole match, and then I think he had 4 matches. First match, won on points. Second match,
Did anyone score on him?
well, that guy I don't know if he scored on him. The guy that was
Maybe
beating
an
him
advantage?
had a bunch of advantages on him for chasing the back. I thought for sure his second match he was done. I mean, the dude was killing him.
Yeah.
And then the third match, ankle locks. Fourth match, so.
Yeah, I agree. We'll sign off on this one, and we can't wait for you guys to come watch us again.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for tuning in.
Our goal here is to to provide more content in the BJJ community, and we appreciate you guys for watching.